We all have this reputation with ourselves, this story that we believe about ourselves, where we suck, where we're not good enough. And in order for you to change that story, you also have to take action and build new evidence for the new you. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zainab and I'm so happy to have you here today. Today I wanted to talk about 5 ways I became more confident in myself. Well, growing up, I feel like I wasn't that confident in myself, just given like life circumstances and just a bunch of trauma and stuff that I've personally went through. It wasn't until I believe 2019 when I started to realize that I wasn't happy. I feel like on paper I had everything and I should be happy and I should be confident. I realized that the relationship with myself was non-existent and I was putting everyone and everything else before me instead of putting myself first and making myself a priority. Once I started to realize that, I really started to look within for the answers. I know that sounds so cheesy, but it's really true. A lot of our answers and a lot of the validation and approval that we are looking for comes from within. Within is really hard. It takes a lot of accountability and responsibility to look inside of us and things we may have tolerated, or look at things we may have done, or look at toxic traits that we might have and own up to it. But I definitely feel like looking within is something that really helps you so that you can have that freedom and be confident in yourself. The first thing that I started to do was I started to spend time by myself and I started to put myself first. So I feel like a lot of times in order to please everyone or to escape from yourself, we always say yes and we always might go because we don't want to spend time by ourselves and kind of hear what we have to say, because maybe there's a lot of dark shit that you don't want to listen to. Being around people all the time was skewing my perception of what I truly wanted to do. I feel like when you're constantly around people, other people's ideas and opinions kind of rub off on you, and sometimes you might agree to things or do things because you think you should or you think you want to, but you really don't. So I slowly started to spend time myself. I started to maybe respond to texts later than right away. I started to have like a self-care day where I just focused on myself. Started to spend time in nature by the lake, which really helped me a lot, and it's just very therapeutic and healing. Take myself on little trips or little dates, I guess you can say. So like if I really wanted to get a latte, I would just go and get a latte and sit there and enjoy that by myself, because I think that as much as our relationships are important as well, the relationship with yourself is important too. So really take time to balance the two. To spend time by myself, I started to hear my inner voice, my inner child really speaking to me and kind of telling me like what I really wanted to do in life, what I really needed from myself, which was my own time and attention. I started off with a small window of time and then I made it gradually bigger and bigger. And even now, like, I definitely feel like in order for me to function my best, I need to have some me time before I can give my time and energy to other people. Tip number 2 was healing from my traumas. This one was really hard because, again, like, I feel like my whole life I've been kind of running away from looking within because there was a lot of deep stuff that I really needed to kind of work on. Like spending time by myself, like it started to come up, and I talk about this in another video, but the coping mechanisms that I would be using, like emotional eating, going out, distracting myself, wasn't working. So the emotions had to come up, and when I was looking within, I started to realize a big part of my lack of confidence had a lot to do with the traumas I was holding on to, the limiting beliefs, the stories I was believing to be true when really they weren't true, played out in different ways. So for example, like say things that people wanted to hear so that there's no problems, right? Not really speaking up for myself or standing up for myself, trying to make and force relationships to work that really weren't going to work out anyways. And nothing leaves you bitter and resentful than putting your all into something you don't even care about, doesn't work out. And that's a huge lesson and a huge mirror for you to look within. And because a confident, happy person can see other people for what they are and not try to change them and not try to change themselves either to fit in. Like, you either accept the authentic version of someone or you don't. That really opened my eyes. So now it's like I'm still working on it, but I'm more authentic to myself instead of trying to mold other people's perception of reality. And I think that a huge sign of the confidence is doing the YouTubing and stuff, because I've always wanted to do this, but I was always like in my head, people think, or what if I fail? And I've really done a lot of inner work to now be like, my message of what I have to say is more powerful than what is. Healing your traumas can really give you the freedom in your life to be your authentic self, to show up as your authentic self, and to also like let people, relationships, and things that don't serve you end and not be bitter about it, right? You have to give yourself permission to be yourself. The person that's holding you back is yourself. You know that whatever the external circumstance is has no implication on your worth and your value, because it's just an experience. It's not good or bad. Whereas when you have all this baggage that you're holding and you go try something, or you want a relationship or a friendship to work out and it doesn't, then that really impacts you and your self-worth and your sense of value, because even being your true self and you got rejected. But when you're confident in yourself, it's like, that doesn't matter. I know something better is out there for me. So that was something that was really hard and took me years to work on. So the third thing that I did was I started to keep promises to myself. So like I kind of said in my previous tip about the limiting beliefs, I think we all have this reputation with ourselves, this story that we believe about ourselves where we suck or where we're not good enough. And I think that in order for you to change that story, you also have to take action and build new evidence for the new you, or for the version of you that's within. I think that keeping your inner child alive is really important, and our inner child really talks to us all the time, but we logically shut it up because we have to pay the bills. And my inner child was reminding me of the goals and dreams that I had when I was younger. Time to change the story I had in my head of why I couldn't be confident in myself or why I couldn't be successful, by taking my big goal and breaking it down and showing up every single day. You may or may not know, but I recently came out with my own book, Become Your Own Dream Girl, and this book is a confidence guide, and it goes through everything and all my tips that I worked on to get to this level. And I just condensed my years of inner work in this little book. I've been trying to do this for years. I would start, then I would stop. Instead of waiting for huge chunks of motivation, what I started to do was 20 minutes a day. So on my phone, I would put the timer on for 20 minutes and I would show up and work on a paragraph or a chapter of the number 4 thing that I started to do is I started to weight train. Weight training is life-changing. I don't think I could work out any other type of way, because weight training has really changed my mindset. After lifting heavy weights just makes you feel very confident in yourself, and it really makes you feel empowered, like you can take anything on. And that's the mindset confident people have. And anytime I started to feel doubt about myself, I would just go lift weights, and that changed the view of myself. So when you are working out or weightlifting, while you're doing the reps, you know, you feel uncomfortable, you feel the pain because it's so hard, right? And that's kind of like metaphoric for life, because sometimes when you're going to feel the greatest, but the more you persevere, the better you come out of that situation, right? So sometimes we go through things, but then we think different because we went through that situation. It's weightlifting, and that just gave me a confidence that I never knew that I had. I do weightlifting more now because of the confidence it gives me than, I guess, the results. I mean, obviously we still want the results, but yeah, weightlifting is crazy, but it really did change the way I view myself and also give me confidence. And I can honestly say that if you start weightlifting, that can change your mindset about yourself as well. Just shows me that I am capable of tough things and I am capable of doing what I said I was going to do. I'm just going to be honest. Putting myself out here and not being at my ideal weight is a little bit of a shocker for me because I was waiting until I was perfect to put myself out here. Skinny or fat, it's about the habit. Because I'm taking the actions that my confident version of myself would take and the fit version of myself would take, my current reality doesn't really matter to me that much because I know what I'm working towards and I know what I'm striving towards. So it's kind of like acting the way you would act and feeling the way you would feel as if you were your dream version. So it's not necessarily fake it till you make it. It's more so doing the habits that that next version of you would do so that you build new evidence and you start feeling good about yourself right now. Because it is about the reputation you have with yourself. And if you keep saying you're going to do something and you don't do it, that hinders your view of yourself because you're not keeping promises to yourself. And subconsciously that makes you feel like shit. So tip number 5 is positive self-talk. And I know this sounds really weird, and even for me in the beginning it was really weird to have positive self-talk, but I started off really slowly and I would start to say nice things to myself, whereas if I made a mistake I would beat myself up about it. I would say to myself, well, that's not normally like me and I'm just having an off day. It's okay, I'm going to do better tomorrow. I started to notice how that made me feel because when I'm critical of myself and hard on myself, I notice that like my shoulders are hunched, my neck is tense. I'm kind of like in flight or fight mode. But when I speak to myself nicely and I'm like calm about it, I'm like more relaxed and open. And from that point, I'm able to kind of see how I can improve. And it's kind of like if you were to talk to someone else, right? Like if you were yelling at someone or being hard on them, they're not really open to listening to you because you're kind of talking down to them. You kind of give them feedback by going through the positives and then saying, hey, this is what you can improve. They're probably going to be more open to listening to what you have to say because you're not attacking. It's kind of like the same thing with yourself. So at first it's weird, but I slowly started to do it. You're saying affirmations, recording yourself, say affirmations with your name and hearing yourself. Something Louise Hay always says too is to like go in the mirror and look at yourself saying affirmation at yourself in your eyes. It's reprogramming your subconscious mind. I think it's really nice to hear other people say, hey, like I got your back, but it's more important for you to hear it from yourself. Like I say to myself, hey Z, like I got your back, like you keep going, you keep doing that thing. It just validates what I'm doing and like my inner child is really happy. And I think keeping your inner child alive is really important because we're meant to have fun on this planet and not go to battle with ourselves. And I think the ultimate goal single one of us wants is to have peace with ourselves, and having a strong relationship with you is more important. I understand that confidence is a journey, and at each level of life I'm going to unlock new things that I need to work on, and the relationship with yourself matters the most because you're with yourself 24/7. You hear everything you say, you act based off of what you think and believe about yourself. Well, I'm at that point now where it's important for me to treat myself well and to set boundaries. Let other people be mad at me for having boundaries than to allow anything and be mad at myself. There were a lot of times I wouldn't talk back or I wouldn't say anything, and I was going to bed like crying because I was like, why would I not say something, or why would I say yes when I meant no? I think it's a part of the process. We all go through this, and you just get to a point where you want better for yourself, and you start to realize that a lot of the things that are in our minds don't really play out. Like sometimes if you say no, the other person's not going to get mad, they'll understand. So just being authentic to yourself is important. It takes time, but you'll get there. Because even for me, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm still working on my journey, but I've definitely gotten better. And yeah, so these are my 5 confidence tips. There's a lot more to talk about and say. So let me know if you want a part 2 on it, and I'd be happy to do that. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.